Valentine's Day, the time when heart-shaped chocolates and red roses are synonymous with warmth and affection. But not for these people. Unfortunately, in these cases, Valentine's Day was a tragic day that went horribly wrong. These are not your ordinary tales of love, but tragedies, where Cupid's arrow did not so much miss its mark as it did strike with a precision that proved deadly. The stories we're about to share are real, the people once as alive and vibrant as any Valentine's bouquet. Yet their endings are tragic and horrifying. Don't forget to like and subscribe, and let's dive in. Valentine's Day is universally recognized as a celebration of love, yet for Oscar Pistorius and Riva Steenkamp, February 14, 2013, marked a tragic departure from this narrative. Oscar Pistorius, once hailed as the Blade Runner for his remarkable Paralympic achievements, became embroiled in a case that captured the world's attention and unveiled a grim tale of ambition, love, and loss. Born without fibulas, Pistorius's legs were amputated below the knee when he was just 11 months old. Despite this, he carved out a legacy as a symbol of triumph over adversity, earning the nickname Blade Runner for the carbon fiber prosthetic blades on which he raced. His journey from a determined young athlete to a celebrated Paralympian and athlete that won 6 Paralympic gold medals was nothing short of inspirational. However, the story that unfolded on Valentine's Day in 2013 revealed a starkly different side of the decorated and celebrated Blade Runner. In 2013, Oscar Pistorius was in a relationship with Riva Steenkamp, a model and paralegal with aspirations and dreams, known for her bright attitude, kindness, and intelligence. Despite her vibrant public persona, reports surfaced of tumultuous episodes between the couple, casting a shadow over their seemingly glamorous relationship. On that fateful night on Valentine's Day 2013, Riva Steenkamp was fatally shot at Pistorius' home by Pistorius himself, claiming he mistook her for an intruder. Pistorius recalled spending the evening with Riva Steenkamp in their bedroom, with Steenkamp doing her yoga exercises while Pistorius watched television. As they both fell asleep, Pistorius woke up during the early morning hours to bring a fan in from the balcony to cool the room down. However, his actions took a drastic turn when he heard a noise coming from the bathroom. In a state of panic, and believing that an intruder had broken in, Pistorius grabbed his gun and whispered to Steenkamp to call the police. He described feeling horror and fear at the thought of intruders being inside the bathroom, especially as he was without his prosthetic legs and felt extremely vulnerable. Pistorius fired shots through the bathroom door and shouted for Steenkamp to phone the police, but received no response. Realizing the possibility that Steenkamp might be in the bathroom, Pistorius attempted to open the locked door and eventually resorted to using a cricket bat to break it down. Inside, he found Steenkamp, fatally injured, slumped over the toilet. Pistorius' neighbor testified that he found Pistorius praying over Steenkamp's lifeless body after being woken by the gunshots and her screams. He was hysterical, screaming and crying that he had shot her, mistaking her for an intruder. The manager of the estate got a call that morning from Pistorius with the same reaction. The trial that followed was a spectacle, drawing attention from around the globe. Pistorius' defense hinged on fear and vulnerability, a narrative that contrasted sharply with the prosecution's portrayal of premeditated action. The trial delved into Pistorius's past, including previous incidents that painted a portrait of a man grappling with impulse control, evidenced by a negligent discharge of a firearm in a public setting. These episodes, alongside the tragic shooting, underscored a pattern of behavior at odds with the public image of a disciplined athlete, suggesting a complex personality capable of both extraordinary achievements and profound misjudgments. There were also testimonies from other neighbors that they heard an argument and a woman screaming before the shots followed. According to a source, Pistorius had taken acting classes before the murder, but Pistorius and his defense vehemently denied that. Pistorius's conviction and imprisonment signaled a precipitous fall from grace, a narrative arc that resonated with the classic tropes of Greek tragedy, the hero undone by his own flaws. His recent release on parole after serving a portion of his sentence has been met with mixed reactions, igniting discourse on the justice system's handling of high-profile individuals. His parole, which will extend until 2029, has become a focal point of contention. Critics of the justice system pointed to Pistorius' sentence and subsequent parole after 10 years as evidence of leniency, sparking debates on the fairness and effectiveness of legal proceedings in high-profile cases. The story of Pistorius and Steenkamp is a sobering reminder of how quickly lives can change, shedding light on the darker aspects of human nature and the unpredictable outcomes of the justice system. How even the most inspiring of people can actually be dark and evil figures capable of such violence. On February 14, 2015, while lovers around the world were celebrating love, a different drama was unfolding behind closed doors in Jackson, Michigan. Dawn Dixon Bay and her boyfriend, Gregory M. Stack, were about to become entangled in a web of violence. Stack, a 49-year-old man, returned home as usual, but little did he know that this Valentine's Day would be his last. Initially, Dixon Bay claimed that she had acted in self-defense, painting a picture of a desperate struggle for survival. Dixon Bay testified that Stack, known for being a frequent drinker, was verbally abusive and had become physically violent on that fatal night. She asserted that her actions were a desperate attempt to protect herself from harm. However, as the trial progressed, new evidence emerged, casting a sinister shadow over her initial claims of self-defense. The crime scene revealed a chilling detail. Stack displayed no signs of defending himself. His lifeless body was discovered in front of the couch, suggesting that he was either asleep or lying down when the attack occurred. The prosecution argued that the murder was premeditated, based on Dixon Bay's actions leading up to the stabbing, her demeanor during the trial, and the testimonies of witnesses. This disturbing twist in the case shattered the facade of self-defense and revealed a calculated act. The trial that followed was marked by conflicting narratives. Dixon Bay's defense attorney argued that Stack's history of abusive behavior justified her actions. They painted a picture of a woman trapped in an abusive relationship who had resorted to violence to protect herself. This heartbreaking story serves as a stark reminder of the complexities of relationships and the devastating consequences of domestic violence. While the legal proceedings played a significant role in this case, it is the night of the murder and the motives behind it that remain etched in our minds. As we reflect on this tragedy, we are compelled to consider the plight of those trapped in abusive relationships, their feelings of hopelessness, and the desperate measures some may resort to. It's a somber reminder of the importance of addressing domestic violence and providing support to those in need. In the end, Dixon Bay's daughter lost not only her mother, but also her father in this tragic incident. Love should never lead to such a tragic ending. On the morning of Valentine's Day 1986, Stephen Gary left his Houston home to go to work. When he left the house at around 6:25 a.m., Marilou was still in bed and said he would call her at around 7. Before going to work, Stephen went to 7-Eleven, the post office, and to Dunkin' Donuts. He realized he'd forgotten to call Marilou, so he called her at 7:30, but she was very busy, so he said goodbye and hung up. At 8:15 a.m., Stephen called his mother-in-law, Maria Serrato, and asked her to go to his house to help Marilou prepare for a lunchtime party. Maria tried to call her daughter, but she did not answer. It was strange for someone preparing a lunchtime party to not answer the phone. When she went to the Gary home, the front door was slightly open. To her shock, she found Marilou lying on the bathroom floor. She tried to wake her up before calling 911. Paramedics eventually arrived around 10:30 a.m. and tried to revive Marilou, but were unsuccessful, even after an adrenaline shot to her heart. To make matters worse, it was impossible to deduce her time of death. Police arrived soon after and found that she was shot 4 times with 2 different guns, a .38 and a .22. But there were no matching guns found in the house, nor any evidence of a break-in. Robbery was not believed to be a motive, although Marilou's jewelry box was found open in her room. Stephen owned multiple guns and were taken as evidence to be tested at the ballistics labs, but no match was found. Despite this, he still remained the only suspect. Maria believed the crime was a premeditated murder and believed nothing had been taken, claiming that the jewelry box being open was because her daughter was picking something to wear before being shot. However, Stephen disputes this, claiming that $40,000 worth of jewelry and fur coats were stolen. Police have never identified any items as being stolen from the residence. Maria told the police that Stephen and Marilou had a disastrous marriage and regularly fought over money. Stephen denies this, claiming that they had worked together, and she supported him as an insurance agent, regularly traveling to Europe and Hawaii. Stephen said he loved her and that she was the perfect woman for him. Stephen's morning was also found to be unusual that day. Normally, he never left the house before 9 in the morning, but that morning he left at around 6:30. Although Stephen claimed to arrive at 7-Eleven immediately after leaving his home, which was about a 5-minute drive, the workers claimed he arrived closer to 7 a.m., suggesting he was doing something else during the half hour. Stephen was also found to have returned to all the places he went that morning, the 7-Eleven, the post office, and Dunkin' Donuts the next day, to remind them that he had been there the day before. Very unusual. Stephen was also found to have taken out life insurance policies on both himself and his wife roughly 2 years prior, each worth $400,000. The police stated their income wasn't capable of supporting their lavish lifestyles, and that the insurance money was a potential motive for the murder. 10 months after the murder, Stephen tried to collect the life insurance, which Marilou's parents tried to stop, claiming he was responsible for her death. However, just before this went to court, they settled out of court for an unspecified amount of money. The courts kept the records sealed and private. Stephen claimed that his former in-laws wanted a share of the life insurance money. Later on, Marilou's original headstone was vandalized several times and eventually stolen from her grave. Her family placed a new headstone with her maiden name Serrato instead of her married name Jerry. Marilou Serrato. The firearms used in the shooting were never found and no further evidence was recovered. Stephen Jerry maintains his innocence in the case and has never been charged in connection with his wife's death. Marilou's family continue to believe he is responsible for her death. In 2018, a $20,000 reward was offered for information leading to the resolution of the case, but so far, nothing has come up. What do you believe likely happened in this case? At approximate 6 p.m. on Valentine's Day 2014, 17-year-old Houston teen Antonio Saldivar borrowed his mother's car to go visit his girlfriend. He was planning to deliver a teddy bear to her as a Valentine's Day gift. He didn't get back home that night, which led his mother to repeatedly call and text him through the night. He finally answered at 4 a.m. and let his mother know he was on his way home. But that was the last time she ever heard his voice. He never made it back home that night. No explanation of why he was so late either. After that, any attempt to get a hold of him went straight to voicemail. Soon after, a tow truck driver found Antonio's car a short time later, crashed into a concrete pillar at 4:50 a.m. He was nowhere to be found at the scene of the crash, but strangely, his shoes were left in the car. Antonio remained a missing person until February 27th, when an employee from a Texas port recycling scrap metal plant discovered Antonio's body, which was trapped underwater beneath a dock within an inaccessible area inside the Houston Ship Channel. He was found approximately 2 miles or 3 kilometers from the accident scene. It's possible that Antonio became disoriented before wandering away from the scene and drowning, but a lot of strange details didn't add up. Antonio never actually made it to his girlfriend's house that night, and the Valentine's Day teddy bear was found inside his pants between his legs. One witness told police they saw a dark SUV run Antonio's car into the pillar. Antonio was also found inside a secure area near the scrap metal plant, which was inaccessible to the search volunteers who'd been looking for him. Autopsy reported cause of death as accidental drowning. Antonio's family reject this as they don't believe he walked all the way to the channel with a teddy bear in his pants just to fall in, and have demanded further investigation into his death. Others speculated that his image fit a gang member and involved in foul play, though his family deny he is in a gang. Others have suspected him of being under the influence, fell into the water and drowned. So how did his body end up there? Antonio Saldivar's family are continuing to search for answers about his death to this day. A Valentine's Day that was meant to be a heartwarming, affectionate day for the couple turned into a tragedy where Antonio couldn't even say a last goodbye to his girlfriend.